You aren't looking into New York schools.
That guy will
Webinar for
1984. I forgot more about the immigration law than AOC will ever know. Matter of fact, the hearing a couple years ago, I had explained to her the entering, because you can call it know your rights all you want. We all know the bottom line. Decide who they prosecute and what the standards of that prosecution is. I simply says, at what point is that impeding? Because you can call it know your rights all you want. We all know what the bottom line is. The bottom line is how they invade law enforcement. Don't open your door. Don't answer questions. Here's what we're talking about. We're talking about people here in the country legally with a criminal conviction who had due process at great taxpayer expense and were ordered deported by a federal judge, but became a fugitive. And we're talking about don't open your door to ICE. You don't have to answer questions. I think it's more about how to invade law enforcement, not to get arrested, even though there's a federal warrant for your arrest. How to evade that rather than know your rights. Now, we can argue about that all day long. They have the right to know their rights. The Constitution said they have the right to certain rights, but also I hope to God we're not, educating people are going to be the next murder of a college student. I've said it before. If we would have had access to the man who murdered Laken Riley in New York, he would never make the Georgia killer.
Let me just, to be fair, she said that
public safety threats escaping.
She said that she is just offering civil education and that you might be, quote, vaguely familiar with the U.S. immigration law, but that she's just doing what she needs to do to remind people the law of the land passed by congressional statute.
Vaguely aware of immigration law. I've done this since 1984. I forgot more about the immigration law than AOC will ever know. Matter of fact, the hearing a couple years ago, I had explained to her that entering the country illegally was actually a crime. So, I'm not going to play that game with her. I simply made a statement. When you sit down with people who are wanted by us, criminal aliens that have been ordered deported from the United States government, and ignore that order, if you and I ignored that order, we'd be sitting in prison. But they ignored an order from a federal judge. They're hiding in a home, and she's telling them not to open the door. Now, I'm not saying that's illegal. What I'm saying is, I asked the Attorney General, at what point is it impeding and what point is it not impeding? So I'm simply, as a board czar, asking the Office of the Attorney General, where does it draw the line? So we make sure we give ICE agents the proper standard when they go to these homes. They don't open the door. At what point can you open the door? At what point can't you open the door? Mm-hmm. So we just want to be sure that ICE officers are doing the right thing. So this is about talking to the Attorney General, because every Attorney General interprets things different. What is your interpretation of impeding? Where's that line at? I think it's a responsible thing to do as a border czar of the United States to make sure the men and women of ICE understand what they can and can't do.
Yeah, and of course.